There is no waking anyone up from the other side. So stop trying and saying that's what you're doing. All you can do, regardless of what side you're on, is offer support to those of like mind. Hello, it's November 2021, and before I get into the topic of this video, I want to try to recap something here that I mentioned recently in a video and in a few videos over the years. And I'm going to segue that with this question. What are people willing to sacrifice for whatever? If you haven't sacrificed anything, then you haven't accomplished anything. There are people like myself who have sacrificed everything with no reward. Not that people like myself are looking for rewards, but the reward that we have is hardship. Sacrificing everything. And a lot of people I see who call others online heroes for standing up to whatever is going on, say, for example, with current worldwide events. And these people, when you look at them, they may have even gone as far as to losing a job, which is pretty serious. But they still have the luxury, the comforts of, for example, a home, food, family, friends, all these things. And I'm not taking away anything from these people, because to them, that was probably the biggest sacrifice that they've made. But there are countless of people like myself who have sacrificed literally everything, destroyed our futures for society. A lot of people, and part of this is probably attributed to movies glamorizing, we use the analogy of the lone wolf who stands up to tyranny or whatever, and whatever's going on. And, they're living a pretty extravagant life, and, they're always dressed nice, look nice, and, they're, however the movie's playing out. And a lot of the times in movies, there's a happy ending. Actually, most of the times in these movies, there's happy endings. I'm just here to remind everyone that people who sacrifice everything tend not to have happy endings for themselves. And when I'm doing videos, for example, dressed as I am, it's not because I want to. This is who I am. It's because I'm living in the aftermath of my sacrifices for society. And I have received no benefit, no happy ending, or at least to date. So people need to learn who the real heroes are. And by no means am I saying that I'm a hero. I'm not. I have my own definition of a hero, which I'll share. My definition of a hero is someone who's no longer here. They've given up their life for others or someone else. That's a real hero. And put aside the so-called professionals who are deemed heroes because they're doing their job. When you have to do something, well, that's not being a hero. That's doing your job. A hero is somebody who does something, sacrifices everything for the benefit of others, expects nothing in return. And, as we see in real life, there's no happy ending. So be very mindful when someone says, oh, look at this person or that person, for maybe making a sacrifice in their life, but still maintaining a relatively normal life with all the luxuries and perks that go along with it, calling them heroes. And I know a lot of people come across my videos, especially videos where I'm dressed in my grubby bush clothes. It's like, well, I don't want to listen to this guy because look at him. But what I have here is still the same, whether I'm dressed as in my other videos, my what I call my normal clothes. So I just want to give that for some thought with regards to, you know, all these online celebrities who people share and talk about because they dress nice, they're able to film themselves in a nice home or a home period. There's a lot of people like me who, well, did sacrifice everything. Anyway, and this is not about me, it's about people like me. And I'm using myself as an example because I can only really speak on myself as an example. So, now we got that out of the way. Equilibrium. A lot of people are afraid of the time of chaos before a new equilibrium is established. Now, let's just back up here for a second. I've talked about the cycles of civilization, and I'm going to reiterate. We are in the late stage of the last stage of civilization, the age of decadence, again, and we repeat history because history is forgotten either by chance or design. What always follows is our demise. The cycles of civilization. Hard times create strong people create good times create weak people, and weak people create hard times. Where do you think that we fit in all that right now? And on top of that, what's happening worldwide today with, for example, current worldwide events is not unique to this time, as we are repeating a literal 100-year pattern within the cycles of civilization. A lot of people can't wrap their head around that. And some people might say, well, yeah, well, say current worldwide events, yeah, it happened 100 years ago and happened 200 years ago, but, and justify it, but they refuse to accept that there's a pattern. Now, people are, during this fearful time, for example, are trying to save and even salvage this current civilization. No one ever asks, what's so great about this civilization, where we are right now, that deserves to be saved or even salvaged? Again, we're going to default to fear. Fear before a new equilibrium is established. Change. For some reason, big changes people don't like. Part of human character. People like routines. People just get in their comfort zone. Dare I say, safe spaces. And I want to segue for a moment. The world is a dangerous place. There are no such thing as safe spaces. But I digress. Look at the world that we live in. Everything is all sensationalized, glamorized. We live in a fake world. Everything. And people are being told, socially conditioned, to even what to like, and food and clothing and everything else. That's just how the world is, right? Well, look at this world. A world where law has become like theoretical mathematics, neither of which having a basis in reality. Take, for example, pedophilia becoming legal and people advocating for pedophiles, saying it's not a bad thing because it's just their sexual preference. And that segues into bestiality in Canada, for example, being illegal. We moved the line once a long time ago, decades ago. The problem is, you move that line, then you might as well just erase it. Here we are today. And not only that, but they're going after the children with all these things, normalizing it with prepubescent children. Now, that's pedophilia in a nutshell. And then we have the teenagers, which is a gray area with young adults and the arbitrary number of the age of consent and all this stuff, which varies and changes with regions and time. But I don't want to, that's a different topic in itself. I'm not condoning it, I'm just saying, you know. We also have cannibalistic restaurants. Yes, cannibalism. Not even hidden anymore. You have websites promoting human flesh to eat. That's the world we live in right now. Pedophilia, bestiality, cannibalism. And this is what people are trying to hang on to, laws that are completely ridiculous. Part of the reason why laws are so ridiculous is when you have the social justice mindset, you have individuals with social justice mindsets infiltrating positions in law, pushing their nonsensical agendas. We start to create an imbalance where even innocent people are continuously being convicted and even jailed. And we only hear of a very small percentage, the tip of the iceberg on this. This is what people would rather hang on to save and salvage. We have the sex trafficking, which has been going on like probably since the beginning. All these things. I've talked about generational commitment by those imposing whatever, for example, current worldwide events. They have a generational commitment, and they've been successful. A long time ago, they made plans, executed plans, dedicated everything to their plans, and here we are today. The world, as a descriptive, is a very wicked place, has become a very wicked place. Always has been. But we reached a place in the civilization where these people don't even cower anymore. They just openly like, yep, this is the way it is. And we look back to the history that we're told. Say, for example, in Rome, ancient Rome, how the leaders of those days and how the people were acting and doing things, and the gladiators fighting to the death for entertainment. And we think, wow, that's crazy. There was a time where December 25th was actually called the Day of Lawlessness, where anything goes. Anything. And there's some movies that are based on that idea, where I think it's 12 or 24 hours or something, anything goes. Everything is legal. And what we're seeing in this world today is that just not just one day, but it's every day. And everyone's so divided and everything else. But it all boils down to people being afraid of the time before a new equilibrium is established. And for a lot of people, their life is cozy. Great, I'm happy for you. And they hadn't had the need to deal with anything or sacrifice anything. Perhaps they've had the opportunities to, but they didn't, to keep their cozy little life. That's fine. Everyone has a choice. There's some people in this world that are doing fantastic, have no worries at all. Good for them. So they want to keep the world as it is. And as they're living in their little subdivisions away from the majority, their world is completely different, and their views of the world are completely different. But for the rest of the people who have a little bit of comfort, a little bit of coziness, a little bit of luxury, don't want to lose that, don't want to let that go. Take, for example, how people have romanticized homesteading, living off grid, having a little hobby farm with some chickens and ducks and all this other stuff. And they think, oh, this is going to be wonderful, eat off the land, grow their own vegetables. And, a lot of people who try that fail. They quit. They realize, there's a lot of work. It's hard work. The time that people spend now waste 6 hours a day watching television, stupid things, movies. You don't have that when you actually have to work to survive. People don't want to lose that time, the extra time that they end up wasting anyway. People become, I shouldn't say people, everyone, most people become decadent little flowers, to the point, as I said earlier, you need safe spaces. This is the world. In order to move forward and not be afraid before a new equilibrium is established, people have to let go. I've talked even recently about this being the war of attrition, to endure, and how this 100-year pattern lasts about 3 years. We're, say, about halfway through, so another year, year and a half. So all you have to do is hang on for that much longer. So for the people, for example, who have made their decision, then you stand by your decision and expect to maintain that position, sacrifice. And if you're not willing to sacrifice anything, well, you're not going to make it to the finish line. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Not everyone could be a winner. So, just a few things to think about. How to identify the people who have sacrificed everything for society, perhaps even civilization, for others. They're not going to be all dressed up real nice and perfect hair and everything else, with a nice little background of their home or an office. And not to be afraid of the time before a new equilibrium is established. And right now, we are at that stage where everything is just going to implode. Because the way things are now won't sustain itself. It can't. Things are falling apart as anticipated. So when people say, yeah, everything's falling apart, whoever's doing the imposing, call them what you want, the Illuminatis and whatever, elites of the world, and they're failing because look at everything's falling. No, this is all anticipated. Anyway, just things to think about. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.